Okay, QCA 2584. Okay, so let's talk about making a website. Remember, the first thing you've got to do when you build a website is plan it out. So just quickly, I'm going to do it in Paint. Do it on a piece of paper if you want to. Okay, so just draw the page, determine where your header is going to go, determine what type of navigation you're going to have. So I'm going to have navigation down the side today, and determine if you're going to have content here. Okay, so because we're now using div tags, what we need is we're going to need a dpage, dheader, dnav, and dbody for here. Okay, so each one of these div tags, what's the thickness of it, relates to one of these boxes. So this relates to here, this relates to here, and this relates to here. Okay, so now that we've got that, what I want you to do is I want you to open up Expression Web. Okay, so I've already got mine open. So we're going to make a new site. So you go to Site, New Site, General, Empty Site, Browse to the desktop. Click and open there. Remember at the end of location to put in the name of your site. So I'm just going to make this one Site 1. Okay, once it's created, we've got Expression set up. So I'm going to right click this and I'm going to go to New HTML document. Remember, your first page is index.html. So once I'm in, I've got my divs that I've got to make. So I've got div id equals the page. Always remember that once you've done a div, put in your ending comment. Okay, so in here I then have div id equals the header, div the header, div equals the nav. So these are just boxes that we're putting in so we can design where everything goes on the page. So div equals the body, and div the body. Cool, so now I've got that, what I want to do is I want to do some spacing. In this instance, okay, all these style sheet stuff we'll put into the head. But first we go back to our Paint program and we have a quick look. So what I'm going to do is just to make this nice and easy, is I'm going to make it 1,000 pixels wide. Okay, so that's this way. I will make it, let's go for 700 pixels high. Okay, so that's all the way up, all the way down. Okay, so going from these bits of information, my header is 1,000 across. Now up and down I don't want to do 700, so what we'll do is I'll change that to say 100 pixels. Okay, so that now means that this box is 1,000 wide, 100 pixels high. Let me just put that in here, 1,000 pixels. Now in here in my dnav I'm going to make it 200 pixels wide, and I'm going to make it 600 pixels high. Okay, so 200 here, let me go to the brush, we'll go to orange, 200 is this way, the 600 is up and down. Okay, so now if I jump back to text here, my dbody is going to be 1,000 minus the 200, so it's 800 pixels wide, and it's going to be 600 pixels high. Okay, so if I jump back to my brush, so that's this way, and that's this way. Okay, now in the first class, remember how when I'm starting to have multiple combined div boxes, I should put them inside a div box. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put a new box in here. Now, because I'm doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change the name. So, that's no longer going to be dbody. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have a dbody, but that dbody is going to be, where's my brush there, that dbody is going to be this outside box, and then what I'm going to have in here, this will be my dcontent, okay, because that's where the content's going to be. So now that I've planned that out, let me jump back to expression. So inside my body, which I've got here, I'm going to have, got to put it in the correct position. Alright, so I've just copied and pasted that out. I'm going to have a div id equals dcontent here. Okay? End of dcontent. Excellent. So now I want to start boxing this up. So what we'll do is we'll start off by saying we have a style sheet of type text. Put that in here. I'm going to start off with a hashtag because I'm going to use it as an ID reference. So this is dpage. Okay. So the dpage is a width of 1000 pixels and a height of 700 pixels and an awesome background color of lime. Okay, so now if I go up to here, which is my preview, hit the preview button, let me bring that across so you can see it, I have this awesomely ugly green square. Okay, so let me just drag this off to the side again. Now what I want to do is I want to put in my header and my body and my content, so I'll do pretty much the same thing. We'll just type it up. #d header. Now my header I want it as a width of 1000 pixels. The height we said was going to be 100 pixels, and we'll give it a background color of silver. Okay, so that's not too bad. We then have a #dbody, which is going to hold the nav and the content. So that's width is 1000 pixels because that's holding everything. Its height is 600 pixels, and we'll give it a background color of black. Okay, so now if I save this again, so this is save one page, this is save all pages, so I hit save, I'll drag back my browser and I'll hit the refresh button. So now I've got my body and my header figured out. So let's put this back off to the side. Now I'm going to add in my nav and my content. So dnav, which we said was going to have a width of 200 pixels and a height of 600 pixels. Give it a background color of, let's see, let's go for teal. Okay, and then we'll throw in the content, which will have a width of 800 pixels and a height of 600 pixels, and we'll go a background color of orange. Okay, so once again I can save that and I'll hit the refresh on the page. Bang, look at that. Okay, so notice how the orange content is down here. That's because a div will automatically do a line straight after it, and the system hasn't been told that it needs to keep them in the same box. So to fix that, what we have to do is we add a float. So I'm going to float this to the left, and I'm going to float this to the right. Okay, so now I will save my page, I will reload my page. There we go. So that's that image up and running, well, that page up and running I should say. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add in an image. So let's go to Bing, images, let's go for Batman, Okay, so let's work with that image there. Okay, so we'll just go to full size image. Now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to save this picture, right? So if I right click it, I can save picture as. I'm going to go to my desktop, into my site, and we'll just go save. Okay, so I'll minimize that. Now if I click on here and hit F5 on the keyboard, which is refresh, my Batman image comes up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this content inside here. Now it's an image, so I need to go image source equals Batman. Now remember, you have to have an alternative text in here, because if you don't have it, then when the images don't load, you're not going to know what it is. Alright, so let's view this page. Now notice how big this image is. It's forced itself all the way out. Now we can add a global div style. So if I go div, I hit enter, put that in, and I go overflow hidden. Okay, so what that means now is when I run this up, notice how it's chopped the image up? That's because the content is not allowed outside the boxes that we've set up. So let's close that down. So what we want to do is we actually want to change the size of this image. Now, I can put on here, I can go that the width is now 300 pixels, and I can say the height is now 300 pixels. Okay, so this is directly applying it to the image. This is old school style way of doing it, so I can save that, preview it. Notice how it shrunk my image for me. That's not too bad. You can get away with that. Nowadays, because we're trying to use the styles all the time, this is where you want to use a class. So classes start with a dot, and what we'll do is we'll go image size, and we'll go height, and we'll say that's 300 pixels, and we'll go width is 300 pixels. Okay, so now if I go back down to my image, what I can do is I can get rid of this part here, and I can go class equals image size. I save this and I run it. So now my image is the same size. Now if I have multiple images, okay, so what we'll do is we'll just duplicate this a few times. 1, 2, 3. Let me just tidy that up a bit. Okay, once again I'll save, I'll preview. Okay, so there's 4 images and stuff up and running. Now, instead of having to go in and modify the height and the width of each one, I can just modify this here. So I can shrink my width down to 200, and I can increase my height by another 100. Save that, do that, and now get tall skinny Batmans. Okay, so that's getting images in. Also remember that when you want to put in text, when you're starting to do it, lorem ipsum is the place to go. Jump into here, to the generator, generate lorem ipsum text, grab a couple of paragraphs of information, and then just paste it into your document here. So now if I save and I refresh, notice how you can't see anything? That's because of my overflow. So what I'll do is we'll get rid of a few of these images. I'll save it and refresh, and now you can see I've got text coming up and around it. So what I want to do is I want to split my text up. So what we'll do is we'll put it into a paragraph tag. So notice how to automatically finish with a /p there. So what I'm going to do is, by doing it this way, also remember to tab your tags out to make it readable. So now these two guys are in paragraphs tags, so I save, and I can jump up, and now notice how it's split up quite nicely. Okay, one more thing that we'll add to this before I shut this thing down is we'll add a style sheet. So I go right click, new CSS. I'm going to call this style sheet.css. Okay, if I open it, it's a blank document. Perfect, just what we want. Now, in Expression, if I go over to here, right, be it in either apply styles or manage styles, I can attach the style sheet. So I attach, I browse, that's my style sheet. I go OK. It types this command in for me straight away. Now, if you run the site, the page again, nothing changes. Now, here's the cool part. Notice how big the page is getting because of everything that we're putting here. What I can do is down in the bottom corner, in the Manage section, I can now just drag my styles into my style sheet. I don't even have to copy and paste, I just drop and drag. So now my page looks a lot cleaner. My style sheet CSS now has a whole bunch of code in it. So I save both pages. I hit run, and I still get my image up. Okay, so let's make one more quick page. And I will want... Let's do this file, save as page1.html. Excellent, so now I've got page 1 in here as well. So I've got an index page and a page 1. So in my navigation, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to add a link to page 1. And what we'll do is we'll just get rid of the image out of there. And inside header, I'll use H tags, and I will say this is page 1. My index in my header, I'll use a H2 command, and I'll go, this is the index page. Also remember inside the head section up here, you can use a title. Okay, now this title, let's just save it and run it, goes up into this section up here. Okay. Oops, that's in the wrong spot. See how it's underlined? It should be outside the style tag. Save, run. That's better. That's what I'm looking for. So there's my header. That's my title. So if I go back on page 1 here, page 1 there, make sure it's outside your style tags. You can get rid of those if you're not using, if you're just sticking with one style sheet. Title, this is page 1. Excellent, that has no images. Good, so we'll save that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 links. I'm going to go a href, works better inside the less than. Href equals page 1. Okay, so whatever I type in here is now the link to page 1. And I will also put in a href equals, okay, no, actually we'll put that one as index.page. We go index.html, close it off like that. Now, so the first one, I'll put a line break in here. Okay, so our link to page 1 is in text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to an image. And we'll go image source equals, we'll use the Batman picture. Okay, we go alt, we'll call it index, okay. We can close that off. Now, as you can imagine, when I save this and run it, I'm going to have a really big picture. See, that's huge, but if I click on it, it's lined up to go here. So, now I'm going to add a new style. And I'm going to do another class. I'll call this dot image link size. Okay. So I'll open up and I'll go width of, we'll just say 150 pixels. Okay, the height I'm not too worried about, it can figure itself out. So if I come back down to here and apply a class to this, so class image link size to here, save the page, open the page, there we go. So now that goes to here, page 1 link, takes me to page 1. Awesome. So what we can do is we can just take a copy of dnav here, go here, and paste it there. Okay, so we'll save, we'll run. Okay, so this is our index page. I click on the link, for here nothing, go to here, notice how the image is huge. I click on it, it takes me back to here. Why is that so big? It's because this style is only on index page, it's not actually on page 1. So now I come back over to my manage style sheets and I pull that down into my style sheet. So that's now affecting all pages. I'll save, I'll run it up, go to page 1, back to the image. Okay? Excellent. So that's navigation as well. And that is that.